I don't think I was ever prepared for this part of the divorce. It wasn't the legal part. It wasn't the emotional part. It was the part where our children pack their bags and walk out the door every other week. So when I shared custody and my kids would leave every other week, it feels like suddenly the home feels so quiet. And it was really hard getting used to, especially in the beginning. So when you go through a divorce, you don't just lose a partner. You go from being a two-parent home to two separate one-parent homes. And when the kids are with you, it's just you. You're the one creating a structure. You have to be the disciplinarian, but you also have to be the comforting parent. And if you're honest, that can create a lot of anxiety. This was the case for me as a divorced mother raising two kids. You keep wondering if you're enough, if you're doing enough. So today I want to talk about the stress and challenges of single parenting, the anxiety, the identity shift, the pressure to be both parents, and how I tried my best to raise my two boys without losing myself in the process. If you're navigating this too, this conversation's for you. Hello, beautiful soul. My name is Simi, and welcome. So when it comes to divorce, we talk about heartbreak, we talk about healing, we talk about the legal side, but there's also so much that happens to the family structure. You go from being a two-parent home to two separate one-parent homes. And I don't think I fully understood what that would feel like until I was in it. It's so easy to give advice to a single parent when you really haven't experienced what it is like to have a single, what it is like to be a single parent in a single parent home. And I don't think I fully understood what that would feel like until I was in it. Because when the kids are with you, it's just you. You are the structure, you are the softness, you are the discipline, you are the comfort, and that can create a lot of anxiety. But before I even talk about single parenting, I want to be open about something. It was around the time of my divorce that I began studying yogic wisdom, yoga teachings very deeply. Before I stepped into that world of yogic teachings, I was raising my boys the way culture and tradition had taught me, and I didn't even realize it. In many ways, I saw them as extensions of me. So if they achieved something, I felt accomplished. If they struggled, I felt like I failed. So their success always felt tied to my identity. And without consciously meaning to, I was guiding them toward my idea of success, which is the safe, respectable, comfortable path that I had been taught. And I never thought of asking myself, what has God placed in their hearts? What kind of life are they here to live? Instead, I was always thinking more in terms of how do I prepare them to succeed? And there's nothing wrong with wanting our children to succeed. But yoga or yoga teachings slowly began to shift something inside me. It taught me something very humbling, to embody something so humbling. And that is, our children do not belong to us. They come through us, but they are not us. They are separate souls. They have their own dharma, their own purpose, their own inner compass. And I realized I had been seeing their life as part of fulfilling mine, almost like their story was an extension of my story. Once I became aware of that, it was really freeing. divorce definitely forced that awakening even deeper, because when you lose control in one area of life, you start questioning where else you've been gripping too tightly. And motherhood was one of those places for me. So now, after a divorce, raising two boys as a woman, it brought in many layers of uncertainty. I didn't grow up understanding what a boy's inner world was like. I had no brothers. Um, Even if I did, I am still a woman, and I can only experience and understand life from that perspective. So, after learning all of these yogic teachings, I decided to just sit there and watch them. And there are times I would watch them and think, what is happening inside your mind? Am I understanding you? Am I guiding you correctly? And I knew I didn't just want to raise boys. I wanted to raise kind, respectful, and emotionally aware men. When you're single parenting, even part time, that the pressure is real. It feels amplified. You're constantly asking, am I enough influence? Am I enough balance? Am I doing this right? And and then there was the shared custody reality, right? Like, we're watching them pack their bags each week. And that part hurts in a way that's hard to explain until you've lived it. That quietness right before and after they leave, the hug right before they leave, and after you close the door, the house is so silent, especially in the beginning stages. And it wasn't anger or resentment, it's this deep ache of watching your children move between two homes. And you wonder if this is confusing for them. Will they feel secure? Are they okay emotionally? Sometimes I cried not because of the divorce itself, but because of what changed for them. That grief is very maternal. It's so real. So during that time, I thought a lot about the kind of mother I wanted to be. And this might sound funny, but I thought about the Cosby show. I loved watching the mom on that show. She was strong but calm. She was firm but loving. She didn't scream. She didn't create chaos. Sometimes just her look was enough. And you could see just in the way they interacted that the children respected her. The thing is, growing up in Indian families, I had frequently observed something. Not necessarily in every family, but often. Mothers were sometimes treated with less respect than fathers. Kids might yell back at their moms, talk over them, but rarely with dads. And that stayed with me. I don't want that dynamic. So I consciously decided to embody calm authority, not perfectly, not dramatically, but energetically, to be steady, kind, but also firm. And the next thing I did was I wanted to understand them individually. All this happened in my life around 15 years ago, when information was not as available as it is today. So I was so grateful for all these beautiful yoga teachings and yoga books and centers where I could attend and deepen my understanding of yoga. So as I got to learn more of these yoga teachings, I learned about temperaments, how each individual, per soul, it comes into this world with a certain temperament. And this helped me to see how my boys' nervous systems were different. Their pace was different. I could really see all that made them so unique and beautiful. I also wanted another lens to understand them better. And I came across MBTI personality type. So I had them take the MBTI, not necessarily to label them as such, but to understand their wiring. It was really fascinating how what I sensed through yoga aligned with what the MBTI showed. One was processing everything internally, as opposed to my other son, who was processing things externally. One leaned towards logical way of being, as opposed to the other was more emotional. And understanding all of that holistically, the individual temperaments of yoga, MBTI personality type, all that helped me shift in the way I responded to them. Instead of asking them, why are you acting this way? I began asking myself, how are you wired? Understanding how they were wired brought a lot of compassion within me towards them. It helped me pause. It helped me guide instead of react. The next thing I did was I also started taking them to a Buddhist center near me. Of course, they didn't want to wake up on a Sunday morning and go at first. They occasionally resisted, but I wasn't really trying to convert them. I just wanted them to hear the talks the Buddhist center had about the mind, because no one taught me about my mind growing up. And at that Buddhist center, no one talks about religion or converting you. It wasn't about that at all. It was about the psychology of the mind, observing the thoughts. And so I continued taking them, and the mom in me figured whatever stays with them stays, and that was enough. I also realized something else. If I only became the disciplinarian and the scheduler, we would lose connection. So I started joining activities with them. And Kung Fu was one of the most beautiful experiences we shared. My boys and I practiced together. We struggled together trying to learn the new moves and the weapons. We learned together. So it wasn't just me managing them. We had like such beautiful shared experience. And I truly believe single parenting can be so supportive when there is shared experience, because otherwise it can turn into just about survival. Playing both parent roles is exhausting sometimes. You are the structurer and the nurturer. You're the strength and softness. You're the discipline and comfort. And some days you feel strong, other days depleted. And that's okay. That's what I learned. It's okay, because children don't need perfection. They need presence. They need consistency. They also need to see us regulating ourselves. And sometimes that meant taking a breath before responding, and sometimes apologizing, sometimes saying, I'm tired, but I love you. Single parenting can feel lonely. Decision fatigue is so real, but instead of letting that harden me, I chose to let it refine me. I became more intentional, more conscious, less controlling, which is very interesting, because you would think you need to be more controlling when you become a single parent, but that has not been my experience. If anything, what the divorce taught me is to let go of this illusion that I had control of everything another soul needs to experience or how they need to live their life. So it made me less controlling as a mom and more guiding. And maybe that is the hidden gift. We get to choose the energy in our home. We get to choose awareness over reaction. We get to raise children who understand their own minds. And I truly believe that matters. So if you're navigating this right now, your anxiety makes sense. Your exhaustion makes sense. You are carrying a lot. And even if your family structure looks different, you can still create stability. You can still create respect. But sometimes the most powerful thing we can give our children is not a perfect structure, but a regulated, evolving parent. And that is enough. If any of this resonated, take it gently with you. As I always say, you don't have to rush it or figure it all out right now. Till next time, be kind to yourself. Stay wise, stay curious, and may your path be guided by love.